Welcome to this new video. This time we are going to continue working with OpenVas and going through the different configuration settings and show you how to do automatic scans, set up alerts, and reporting so that you can fully deploy this solution in your network environment and make it easier for you. Okay, so if you remember from the last video that I created related to installing OpenVas as a Docker in Ubuntu, we executed or I showed you how to execute or run a scan in your network. And this is the result of that scan. As you could see, this is my test environment and you're going to see that it detected a couple of vulnerabilities in my test environment. If I go to scans and results, you're going to see more information about the vulnerability and the host, so on and so forth. Um, so let's go over deeper into the configuration. So you'll see a couple of cool tricks that you can implement in your environment when running or using OpenVAS. So let's go deeper into the scan settings. So you go to scan, tasks, and as you can see here, you have the option of creating a new task. Just hover over the star icon. And this is where you're going to create the tasks for OpenVAS. So we're going to name this task scans to, or whatever name you want to name it. The name is relevant, but it's also always a best practice to name the scan in reference to what it is going to be doing because you can create multiple tasks right here, and you can leave a comment for that. Now, what's going to be your target, right? As you could see here, I already have a target and I have a server subnet for that. And but you have the option of creating the target right from here if you don't have that already in the system. Let's say that you would like to create a target, and it's up to you how you want to create or deploy this. I usually do it by subnets or by server or configuration types. For instance, I can create a target for all my VM servers, the host and the guest, and I can do it for my Windows server, so you could do it for your Windows Server 2016, 19, or whatever you have the option of creating the targets, right? So I'm gonna name this. I can do name this finance subnet. Okay, these are all hosts in the finance department. And then you have to specify the IP address or the range. It is easier for me if I just do it by subnet. 172.5, 172.16.60.0. If you know your subnet mask, you could do, I'm going to do a /24. And you have the option of excluding some hosts. For instance, like I want to exclude the firewall in that subnet, right? So I know that that is 172.16.60.1 or any other host that you would like to exclude, you will add it right there. These are the options if you want to do reverse lookup only or lookup unified. And then this is something useful that you would like to pay attention to. The, the default port list for the scanned is the this one right here, the TCP, all TCP assigns. But you can select if you just wanna do the scan on UDP or privileged TCP. I don't really know what privileged TCP is. I'm assuming those are the well-known ports, like for instance, 80, 21, 22, 53. What we know was that the well-known ports, anything between like 1 and 1024, because those are the ports, the most popular ports that applications use. But you could do some researching here, and as you could see, you have more profiles that you can choose from. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is, and then if you want to do the alive test, if you want to do the ICMP ping or the R ping, whichever way you would like to do that, I would advise you just to accept the default configuration settings, and depending on the results that you get, then you can adapt the configuration to your unique environment. And right here, lastly, is if you have the credentials for these protocols for SSH, SMB, or EX, ESXi, the VMware, or the SNMP, you can include them there. And this is normal. Most of these vulnerability scanners, they do require credentials if you would like to run a complete scan in your network environment. But for now, we're just gonna leave it as is, and I'm just gonna click on create. And now when I come here and you have the option to select the target, as you could see now I have my finance and I have the server subnets, and you could have anything else you would like to add there. If you continue looking at these settings, another one that is super useful is add results to assets. That way you're going to have you could use these and also create an inventory of your assets in the environment, and you could see them right here from OpenVas. Then you have another useful option, auto delete reports. It is completely up to you if you want to delete the reports. I would advise you that if you have the space for that, you can always keep them in there, or you can select the option to automatically delete reports that are oldest reports, but always keep the latest 5 reports that you do, or the latest whatever number you want to assign here. And then again, this is another configuration option that you could change if you want. If you want to do the default scans, you could do it on the default OpenVas profile, or you can select the CVEs, right? So I would leave it as the default OpenVas, and then you have other options to select. If you want the scan to be full and fast, if you want the scan to be full, fast, and ultimate. So depending on the option that you select here, the scan is going to take longer, and it's going to do more when probing the different hosts within your environment. So the more complete that you option you select, for instance, if you do full and very deep ultimate, that's gonna generate more traffic in your network environment, but yet at the same time, it's gonna give you a more accurate result of the scans that you are running. So you have to decide how to do this. And remember, as I mentioned before, always try to do this during slow business hours when there's not much network traffic, especially if you select something like this, right? And if you do, well, you could do this the first time and then configure other scans to do the default option. So full and fast, and then you have order of targets and holds. It's going to be sequential. This is just how it is going to do these scans. For instance, if we're gonna be scanning the 172.16.0 subnet. It's gonna go 172.16.0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, until it covers all the hosts within that subnet. Or you could do random or reverse. Those are just customizable things. So I'm just gonna come here, click create. Now, as you could see, once we do that, we're going to go back to the dashboard where you're going to see your different scans. What what I recommend to do and what I would recommend you to do in this case is now create a schedule for the scan, right? As you could see, I am not running this scan yet. It's just created sitting there, but I'm not executing it. So if you want to create a schedule, you would go to, I believe you go to scan. No, you go to configuration. That's what it is. And then from here, you go to schedules, right? And you're going to create a new schedule. So I'm just going to click here. And this is going to be, just do something, name it something that is easy to identify. Okay, so you could set up the first time when you are going to run this, right? As you could see here, you have the date and the time that you would like to do this. I can change that to tomorrow. Make sure you understand the time zone that you are in, right? So I'm just going to leave it as that, but select the correct time zone for your environment. And then you select your period and duration for this, right? So let's click on create. And as you could see now, I have a schedule for my finance scan. And finally, the next option that I would recommend to have enabled is that you can set a alert. Because what happens is this, it is very exciting when you run this the first time and you get the pretty results in the report. But remember, you're going to be doing this on regular basis, right? And depending on the size of your network, you're going to be doing this multiple times a week, besides your other tasks in your environment. So you don't want to add more work to you. You don't want to add another tool in your network environment that instead of helping you do your do your job better, is gonna just add more work and endless notifications that are useless. So in that case, you may want to set up alerts so you only get notified whenever something triggers the alert that is important to you. So you would go to configuration, alerts. Oh, and once you are here, you click on create new alert, and we can name this, let me here, scan alerts, or whatever name you want to give it. And the task is going to be run, as you can see here, task run status change to, it's going to be done, new or requested, or whatever you want to do here. And then that's going to be based on what? Or you could do it based on the new. And as you could see, that's going to update the configuration based on the MVTs or the CVEs. You could do that in there. I'm going to leave the default. The conditions is always the severity is at least what? You don't want to do the zero point 0.1 because that's going to drive you crazy, right? So you can, like change that to 5, which is going to make more sense to you. Let me just like do it in here. Or You can select these options right from here, the severity levels. You can do it as change. If the severity has increased, that's what you would like to do, not decreased. You don't want to get notified when something is not the severity of that item decreases, right? You would like to get notified whenever the severity increase. So you would like to do that, and then right from here, report results. Actually, there's nothing here. Well, you could do it right here if you want to do any filters. That's what you would like to do. And now, which method you would like to get reported as? You could get an email, or you could send it to a host, or you have all these options. If you have Tripping Point, or if you have Star Trek, you could use this, right? The most common one is the email option. Obviously, you have to configure this with your email address or an email address that is already configured to do this type of things because as you could remember, like depending on the email solution that you have, the it will not allow to send emails from other devices. It requires some configuration, but if you can do not SMB, if you do let's see, what is it? You could do send to host, and you could, like specify the host you want to send it to, uh, and then the report format, right? If you want to do it as a CVE or HTML or any of the other formats they have in here, even PDF, you could do it and then you'll create it, right? So once you do that, you click on create. Obviously, I have to enter the email address or the host right here. I'm gonna say 172.99 on port. If you configure something on a specific port, you could do it, create. Again, this is just for that. And now you are gonna use the alerts to get you notified whenever something triggers the alert in your scan. Because remember, we set up a schedule and this scan is gonna run on regular basis on the time that we set for that. And perhaps when it runs the first time, it's not going to detect anything. And then the second time, it's going to detect something. And then you would like to be notified if that new item that has been detected is requires your attention. And once you do it, you're going to have this tool ready to support you in maintaining and securing your environment instead of just having a tool that is going to add more work to you, right? Because ultimately, that is what you want. You want to make things easier for you. Again, I hope that this video was useful to you. Remember that I'm running OpenVas in a Docker in Ubuntu, but if you run it on Kali or if you run it on Parrot, the application itself, or if you run it any other way, it is the same concept. It is the same setup that you will do to make your configuration work for you. If you liked this video, just please click on the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel as we grow this community together. Have a great day, and I will talk to you in the next video.